Problem 7108, use the strategies from problem 7107 to solve the problems below. Part A, use Letitia's method of undoing division to solve this proportion. P over 22.5 equals 7 over 5. When you find P, replace the value in the original proportion to confirm that the two ratios are equal. Alright, for part A, what we need to do to undo division is to multiply. So undoing division would be multiplying. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and copy my equal ratios here that they give me so I have some room to work. So I'm doing P over 22.5 and then that is equal to 7 over 5. So what Letitia did in problem 7107 was she multiplied by the denominator of the variable. Or you could see P is being divided by 22.5. So what she did was she multiplied by 22.5. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I prefer to put it over 1 just because I think it's easiest to, if we're dealing with fractions, to deal with fractions, all fractions. Alright, so now that we have this set up, let's go ahead and solve for P. So 22.5P is what I'll have on top because 22.5 times P gives me 22.5 P over 22.5, and we'll set that equal to, alright, we have to multiply 7 by 22.5, and when we do that, we should get 157.5 over 5. So this is the point then where we can go ahead and get rid of our fractions, because remember that fraction bar means the same as division. Well, on the left you see I have 22.5 divided by 22.5, which leaves me with just 1p, or p, and then I have 157.5 and I need to divide by 5. When I do that, I get 31.5 for my P. Alright, so they told us to, once we find P, replace the value and the original proportion to confirm that the two ratios are equal. So we have 31.5 over 22.5, and is it equal to 7 over 5? Well, remember that fraction bar means the same as division, so let's go ahead and do 31.5 divided by 22.5. It's going to give us 1.4 on this side, and then 7 divided by 5 is also going to give us 1.4. So yes, we can confirm that these two ratios are equal. Alright, let's have a look at part B. So part B says, write and solve a proportional equation for x for the similar triangles at right, then use Avner's method of undoing both denominators to solve for x. Alright, first things first, we need to solve, well, first we need to come up with our proportional equation. So when I do this, I'm looking at copy over original. So let's call this the original, let's call this the copy. now I need to find some corresponding sides. So I see that I have an x here, and my corresponding side would be 30 on my similar figure. So I'm going to have x over 30, and let's set that equal to find another corresponding side. So it looks like I have a 12 and a 15. So we're going to set that equal to 12 over 15. So this is our equivalent ratio that we have, that we are working with. So now what we need to do is we need to multiply by the denominators to undo the fractions. So I'm looking for a least common denominator, which in this case is going to be 30. I'm going to multiply everything in my equation by 30 over 1. So 30 times x gives me 30x. 1 times 30 gives me 30. We'll set that equal to 30 times 12. And that's going to give me 360. And 1 times 15, which is 15. Now, this is where the fraction buster comes into play. 30x divided by 30 gives me 1x, or just x. And then 360, of course, we're going to divide by 15. And when we divide by 15, we should get 24. So our x equals 24 in this case for part B. Okay, that's all we need to do for part B. So that was using the fraction busters method. Part C. Alright, part C says an apple juice container has a tiny hole in it, so it is slowly leaking. If the container leaks 3 ounces every 19 minutes, how long will it take for the 16 ounces of juice in the container to leak out? Write a proportional equation and solve with JR's strategy of using a giant 1. Alright, so to do this, I need to kind of sift through these words and figure out, alright, how can I come up with a proportional equation based on what it's telling me? So, let's see, it says the container leaks 3 ounces every 19 minutes. We need to figure out how long will it take for the 16 ounces of juice in the container to leak out. Alright, so we know it's leaking 3 ounces every 19 minutes. So I'm going to do ounces over minutes, so 3 over 19, and then set it equal to, we need to figure out how long will it take 16 ounces to leak out. Well, that we do not know. So this is going to be our proportional equation. We have solved that at this point. So now we need to use the giant 1. So I'm going to scoot this over a little bit here, since we need to multiply by a giant 1. Alright, so now we need to figure out, what can we use as a giant 1 to figure out what x equals here. So I need to figure out, what can I multiply 3 by to get to 16? So again, rather than using trial and error, what I can do is I can just do 16 divided by 3. So that's going to give me 5.3 repeating, or as a fraction, it's going to be 5 1/3. I prefer fraction just because fractions are more precise. So I'm going to have 5 1/3 as my top and bottom in the giant 1. So 3 times 5 1/3 gives me 16. Okay, so we know 16 is our top part. Now 5 1/3 times 19, let's see. that's going to give me approximately 101.3 repeating. So and we could just say 101 and 1/3, or you could say 101.3 repeating. That's fine too. So in this case, our x equals 101 and 1/3, or that 101.3 repeating. All right, and that is all for 7-108.